Hey Virgo, Anna here. Stop what you're doing. Um, because the wound you've been carrying, the one with a specific face attached, a specific voice that still echoes in nightmares, specific hands that left bruises invisible to everyone but you, it's active again, not healed tissue suddenly rupturing. More like scar tissue being tested, pulled, examined to see if it's actually stronger now or just appeared that way in safety's absence. Someone who damaged you is circling back, or already has, or the universe is positioning you for unavoidable collision with them because there's unfinished business your soul won't let you bypass, no matter how expertly you've been dodging. Pain leaves signatures in energy fields, specific frequencies that linger long after the person who caused them physically exits. And right now, those frequencies are amplifying around you either because proximity to the original source is increasing or because you're approaching a reckoning with damage they inflicted that you never fully processed. Either way, this isn't random, isn't coincidental. The person who broke something fundamental inside you is relevant to your present moment, whether you've consciously acknowledged it or not. Who just flashed through your mind? That's them. We need to talk about what caused you pain and sadness actually means, because there are gradations. There's the person who disappointed you, hurt your feelings, made you cry a few times. Painful, yes, but not what this energy is referencing. This is about someone who fundamentally altered your trajectory, who didn't just cause temporary discomfort, but inflicted damage that changed how you move through the world, how you trust, how you love, how you perceive your own worth. The kind of harm that creates before and after versions of yourself, with the after carrying wounds the before couldn't have imagined. Betrayal that rewired your nervous system, abandonment that taught you people leave, abuse that convinced you love and pain are synonymous, manipulation that made you doubt your own perception, cruelty that proved the world isn't safe. That level of damage, that's who we're discussing. And they're surfacing in your awareness now for reasons that might not be immediately clear but are undeniably significant. Several possibilities exist for why this person, this particular architect of your suffering, is energetically present right now. One, they might be literally returning, reaching out, showing up in spaces they've been absent from. Not because they've transformed into decent humans necessarily, but because their current circumstances make you look appealing again, or because they're bored, or because hurting you once gave them something they're craving another hit of. Predators often revisit old hunting grounds, especially if previous prey didn't fight back effectively. Two, you might be encountering someone new who's triggering the same wounds this original person created, same manipulation tactics, same dismissive tone, same subtle cruelty disguised as honesty. And your system is screaming warnings you're trying to rationalize away because this new person seems different on the surface. But your body knows, recognizes the threat beneath different packaging. Three, you could be approaching a healing threshold where you finally have capacity to process trauma you've been storing in your body for months or years. The pain is surfacing not because the person is back, but because you're finally strong enough to look at what they did without disintegrating. Your psyche only brings forward what it believes you can handle. 4. There might be karmic completion necessary, not in the you owe them forgiveness sense, fuck that noise, but in the this soul contract needed closing and you've been leaving it open, bleeding energy into the past sense. Sometimes we have to face what damaged us one final time to truly sever the cord. Which scenario resonates? Or is it multiple converging? Here's what I need you to understand with absolute clarity. If this person is literally coming back into your life, you are under zero obligation to engage. None. Their return doesn't mean you failed to heal properly if you don't want them around. Doesn't mean you're holding grudges if you maintain boundaries. Doesn't mean you're not spiritual enough if forgiveness feels impossible. Protecting yourself from people who harmed you isn't unforgiveness, it's basic self preservation. They don't deserve access to the person you became despite or because of what they did to you. They don't get to witness your healing as spectators, especially if they contributed nothing to creating it and would happily undo it given opportunity. Your transformation isn't for their consumption. But let's be honest about something uncomfortable. Sometimes there's a pull, even toward people who devastated us. Trauma bonds create attachment that logic can't easily override. You might hate this person and simultaneously feel drawn to contact, to closure, to one more conversation where maybe this time they'll see what they did and apologize adequately. That pull isn't love, it's unfinished processing. It's your system trying to resolve what never got resolution. And engaging with the person directly is rarely the path to that resolution. Usually, it just creates fresh wounds on top of old ones. What would actually resolve the pain? Not their apology. They probably aren't capable of the level of accountability you'd need to feel satisfied. Not their acknowledgement. People who cause profound damage rarely possess the self awareness to recognize it fully. Not their changed behavior, leopards and spots, and all that. Resolution comes from you integrating what happened, grieving what was lost, reclaiming power they took, building life so solid their approval becomes irrelevant, becoming someone who wouldn't tolerate treatment they inflicted because your standards evolved past accepting crumbs. That's healing, and it happens independent of their participation. Let me address why this message is extremely important beyond the obvious emotional intensity. You're at a choice point. Whether this person is physically returning or just energetically active, you're being asked to decide something crucial. Are you going to respond from who you were when they hurt you or from who you've become since? Because those are radically different people with radically different capacities. The you they damaged might have accepted blame for their behavior, might have twisted into pretzels trying to be enough, good enough, worthy of better treatment, might have stayed long past any reasonable exit point because trauma bonding convinced you love requires suffering. But current you, if you've done any healing work at all, current you knows better, sees manipulation tactics from miles away, recognizes red flags immediately instead of explaining them away. values peace over intensity, consistency over chaos, respect over excitement. The question is whether you'll trust current you's wisdom or regress to old patterns when tested. Tests are coming, are already here. How you respond teaches the universe and yourself whether growth stuck or was just temporary performance. If this person contacts you, what's your immediate instinct? Engage or block? I also need to address the sadness component specifically because pain and sadness aren't identical. Pain is what they did, sadness is what you lost because of what they did. Lost time, lost innocence, lost trust in yourself and others, lost versions of who you might have become if they hadn't derailed your trajectory, lost relationships that couldn't survive the damage they caused, lost belief that the world is fundamentally safe or people are fundamentally good. That sadness might be surfacing now. Grief for the you who existed before them, who you can never fully return to being. And that's legitimate mourning. You're allowed to grieve who you were before damage, even while appreciating who you became after. Both truths coexist. Here's something else. If this person is coming back, they likely want something. People rarely return to scenes of their crimes without ulterior motive. Maybe they need validation that they weren't actually that bad. Maybe they want forgiveness to alleviate their guilt without doing work to deserve it. Maybe they're testing if you're still exploitable. Very rarely do they return because they've genuinely transformed into people capable of accountability and repair. That happens, but it's statistical anomaly, not probable outcome. So approach any contact with radical skepticism. Assume the worst until extensive evidence proves otherwise. Don't give benefit of doubt to people who already demonstrated they'll exploit it. What do you think they'd want from reconnecting with you? Let's talk about what you might want from this encounter if it's inevitable. Not what you should want according to spiritual teachings or therapy frameworks. What you actually want? Revenge? Valid. Not recommended practically, but the desire is human and understandable. They harmed you. Wanting them to hurt back is natural emotional math, even if acting on it rarely provides the satisfaction anticipated. Apology? Reasonable, though expecting adequate apology from inadequate people sets you up for fresh disappointment. Their apology likely won't match the depth of harm inflicted. Closure? Dangerous. Because closure is internal work, not something other people grant through conversations. Seeking closure from them gives them power to withhold it perpetually. Indifference? Ideal, but possibly not realistic yet. True indifference is earned through processing, not performed through pretense. Whatever you want, own it honestly. Self-deception about your desires leads to choices that don't serve you. I want to address one more critical thing. If this person caused you pain and sadness, and you're noticing patterns where you keep attracting similar people, that's not coincidence or bad luck. It's unhealed wound calling in matching frequency. Trauma that's not processed doesn't disappear. It broadcasts, sends out signals that attract people who will recreate similar dynamics because your system is trying to master what it couldn't master originally. Trying to get different outcome with same variables, which obviously doesn't work. Breaking that pattern requires addressing root wound, not just managing symptoms by blocking each new person who triggers it. This person surfacing might be invitation to finally do that deeper work. Not with them present, they're irrelevant to your healing, but using the activation their energy creates as fuel for transformation they never intended to catalyze. What are you being called to heal that you've been avoiding? As this reading closes, understand something fundamental. People who caused profound pain rarely deserve the mental real estate they continue occupying. They're not thinking about you as much as you think about them. They've likely moved on completely, unburdened by guilt or awareness, while you're still carrying weight of what they did. That's unjust, and changing it requires conscious effort. So if this person is coming back or energy around them is intensifying, use it. Not for reunion or reconciliation necessarily, though, if that's genuinely healthy and aligned. Trust yourself to know. But as catalyst for final release, face what they represent, feel what you've been avoiding feeling, process what's been stored in your body, then make whatever choice serves your highest good, whether that's blocking them permanently, having one final conversation with clear boundaries, or simply observing from distance as they prove themselves unchanged. You're not who they left damaged. You're who survived their damage and built something beautiful from the rubble. Remember that when they try to make you small again. Drop a comment. Who caused you pain that you're still processing? What do you need to finally release them? You survive them once, you'll survive them again, but this time you get to choose the terms.